All right, today we are diving into OpenAI's latest creation. And let me tell you, this isn't just another small step forward. This is a massive leap. We're talking about GPT-5.3-Codex, and it represents a fundamental change in what AI can even do.
Now, to really get why this is such a big deal, you have to understand the drama behind the release. This wasn't some scheduled update. No, this was a power move, a direct, strategic shot fired in what's becoming a very high-stakes competition.
And how strategic are we talking? Well, OpenAI dropped this bombshell just 20 minutes, that's right, 20 minutes, after its biggest rival Anthropic announced their new model. This is all about making a statement. So what's so special about this thing? Let's start with the big picture, because this is about so much more than just helping you write code a little faster. This model is kicking off a whole new era for AI, something the entire industry is calling the agentic shift.
So what does that actually mean? Well, think about it like this. AI is graduating. It's moving on from being a passive little helper that just does what you tell it to becoming an autonomous collaborator, something that can actually manage huge projects all on its own.
And the difference here is, well, it's profound. The old way of thinking about AI was basically like a super-powered autocomplete, It would finish your sentence or a line of code. But this new way? It's like having a partner, an autonomous collaborator that can plan, execute, and see a complex project through from the beginning right to the very end.
Now here's where it gets kind of sci-fi. The most mind-blowing thing about GPT-5.3-Codex is how it came to be. This model was able to actively take part in its own creation. It helped build itself.
And don't just take my word for it. OpenAI themselves said it was, and I'm quoting here, the first instance of a frontier model meaningfully contributing to its own creation. I mean, that's a huge deal. The line between the tool and the person making the tool is starting to get really blurry.
So, how did it actually do that? Well, in practice, the model basically became its own software engineer. It found bugs in its own programming, it helped manage the server traffic when it was being launched, and it even analyzed test results to figure out why it was running slowly. This is literally an AI improving itself. Okay, all this self-improvement stuff sounds amazing, but what does it really mean for performance? How good is it really? Let's dig into the numbers and see how it stacks up, not just against other AIs, but against us.
Okay, check out this chart. This shows how well it performs at just using a computer. Navigating a desktop, opening files, the kind of stuff you and I do every day. The baseline for a human is about 72%. GPT 5.3 Codex is already clocking in at nearly 65%. It is getting shockingly close to human-level skill.
Now, fixing GitHub issues saw a little bump, nothing crazy. But look everywhere else. There's a massive leap in using the command line. And its score for just navigating a desktop almost doubled. This is the proof right here that it's evolving from a simple code writer into a full-blown digital operator. Okay, so we've established we have this insanely powerful new AI agent, which leads to the next logical question, right? How in the world do you control it? How are you supposed to manage something that can run a project for days all by itself?
And that gets to the heart of the new problem OpenAI needed to solve. See, when an AI is chugging away on a task for hours or even days, a simple chat window just doesn't cut it anymore. It gets messy, it's hard to keep track of, and it's almost impossible to supervise properly.
So their answer is this dedicated command center, the Codex app. It's built from the ground up for this new agentic world. It lets you run multiple AIs at once, keeps them running on long tasks, and this is the most important part, it has a steer mode, so you can jump in and give it guidance without wrecking the whole project.
But of course, OpenAI isn't the only player in the game. They're not working in a bubble. So let's take a look at how this new model and its whole philosophy stacks up against the heavy hitters from Anthropic and Google.
And what's so cool is that we're seeing these totally different strategies emerge. OpenAI is all in on the autonomous builder, an AI that's all about speed and getting things done. Anthropic, on the other hand, is crafting a senior partner, an AI that's focused on deep, careful reasoning and planning. So the trade-offs become pretty clear. If you need something that can act fast and self-correct, you're going to go with Codex. But if you need an AI to think through a massive million-token document, Claude is probably your best bet. And then you have Google's Gemini, which is all about scaling up for big business. It's not about which one is best anymore, it's about picking the right tool for the job. Which brings us to our final point. We have to talk about the other side of this coin, because an AI that's this capable, especially when it comes to things like cybersecurity, well, it comes with some enormous responsibilities and some very real risks.
The biggest challenge here is something called dual-use risk. Basically, any tool that's powerful enough to help a defender find and fix security holes is, by its very nature, powerful enough to help an attacker find and exploit those same holes.
So what's OpenAI's plan? They're definitely not just throwing this thing out into the world and hoping for the best. Instead, they've built an entire safety framework specifically around its most powerful cybersecurity skills, all designed to keep this tech in the right hands.
This framework has 3 different levels. For individuals, you have to verify your identity to get access. For companies, you get team-wide access, but with really strict auditing. And for the most powerful, cutting-edge stuff, that's reserved for a small, invite-only group of security researchers. It's a system built on trust and accountability.
And all of this brings us to one final big thought. The launch of GPT-5.3-Codex feels like the moment when AI stops being just a tool we use to get around in the digital world. It's becoming an agent that can build, manage, and even defend that world all on its own. And that leaves us with a really profound question to think about. What is our role now?